mother-in-law with us. It was a nightmare. So I figured let's start looking for our own. And lo and behold, we found our own. We're in Franconia, New Hampshire. We bought a house on a river. It was falling into said river, but it is a whirlwind.
Yeah.
It is standing tall now.
Well,
I feel like Jess has every story already.
Yes, I know. Well, when we came up with the topic, I was like, we have to have Jess on. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you guys are just going to have to share your show with her. But yeah, so I called into the studio and talked to Rob Hacklow this morning and gave sort of a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about. And one of the questions that we did discuss this morning was sort of why that area, why the area that you chose. So I sort of assumed that you and your family went to that area and sort of frequented that area, probably spent a lot of money in that area renting, and you're like, why don't we just buy something? And so we can be there for a couple of weeks or a couple of weekends in a year and then make our money back.
So actually,
No, I was wrong.
You were.
No,
Sorry.
I
I actually wanted to be a little bit farther south. And then this house, I told my husband, I said, I'm not buying anything unless it is on water. I want to wake up. I want to have coffee by the water. I want to sit by the water and have my glass of wine at night when I put the kids to bed. I want to be by the water. I don't have to pack them up and bring them somewhere, blah, blah, blah. So I was looking for waterfront only, and this one kind of just popped up. One random, I think it was like a Tuesday night, and my husband wasn't even home. And I said, this is the one. He said, okay. And I said, sign here, honey. And
wow,
that was
I didn't get one of those.
Yeah. Well, you give them a couple beers first and say, sign here, honey. That's illegal. I'm sorry. But that's long-term marriage. So then, the next morning I said, hey, you remember we bought a house last night, right? He said, yeah, it was red, right? And I said, yes, it was. So we bought it sight unseen, which.
Oh, I didn't realize you guys bought it sight unseen, which now makes sense for the renovations that you had to do after the fact.
I still want to
get a home inspection.
Yeah. Nicholas. I still would have bought it. It's in like the heart of Franconia. It's in the best location I could have found. I will never find a house closer to the river. Good things and bad things with that fact.
Okay.
But, I will never find one closer. So I love it. Franconia has been an awesome little town to be in. The people are great. So
okay.
I drive past your house to get to mine.
Oh,
and
really?
I love that area. Every time we drive through, I'm like, and then we're always hoping that you guys are going to be there when we drive through, so we can stop and have an excuse to.
You can throw a beer to them.
Yeah. Need it because you got another hour out.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you guys come across your house? Why that area?
It's funny. Well, like just taking one more step backwards. Like I've been trying to invest for years and years and years. And like just in some of the other agents in this office have shared some of the same stories, like Sam Horton and stuff and Matt Mahoney, and just constantly talking to those guys about investments and what to do. And, I've been reading all the books and everything since I was in my mid-20s. And here I am in my, I guess, early mid-40s. Is that a thing?
Asking me how old you are. I was like, ask your wife.
I don't know what 42 counts as. So
I can tell you when your real estate license expires, but I can't tell you what your age is.
But so we've been just trying to search for the right type of investment for the longest time. And was it multifamilies? Was it single families? Was it, what was it? And so, when we've all kind of first started this journey, like short-term rentals weren't even really a thing. I mean, like people were doing it on the Cape, they were doing it up north, but they were doing it direct, like Airbnb, VRBO weren't really much of a thing.
Yeah.
It's really come about in the past 5 years. Again, I had a million conversations with Matt Mahoney as he was starting to get going on.
I know. I tried to get him to be on the show, but he says he's so busy he can't.
In his property in Plymouth, and I was like, Plymouth? Why would you Airbnb in Plymouth? And then showed me the numbers and everything, and I really started to dive into it and got into a couple of different groups. One of them is called Host Camp, with this guy Rob Amasolo, who's a Bigger Pockets guy. He's on the Bigger Pockets podcast.
Was he the one that spoke at one of Sam's investment meetings?
No, this guy's like national.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But he actually had, I want to say he had Sam's guy as a guest. Yeah.
Nice.
So, just started drinking the Kool-Aid with all those guys. I was originally focused like southern New Hampshire into the Maine area. My pure focus originally was something in the mountains that was near a lake too. So I wanted ski and lake.
Is
both
that
of them.
for so you can use personally as well, or just you felt
was-
like that was a great investment
Yeah.
for you guys?
In terms of investment, I was just like, let's capitalize on skiers and
Mhm.
let's capitalize on people that want to enjoy a lake. So
Yeah.
then you get, ski summer, and then your slow season
Yeah.
is maybe springtime,
Yep.
but people will still be up there in the
I think
fall.
that's a great way to think, because you're like, what's an area in New England where you can get the best of both worlds? So
Yeah.
you have people who love to hike in hiking weather, and then you have people who love to ski in the wintertime. So people who love to ski aren't going to be there in the summer when there's no snow, but
Right.
people who like to hike. So I think that's
Then you
great.
get
Yeah.
your leaf peepers and
Yep.
Yeah.
that's your fall people.
It's
Oh, I want to be a
it's-
leaf peeper.
Yeah.
yeah, someday you do. I
Is
was
it available?
It is.
it's funny for me again, like focusing more, like I was kind of focused on like the Shawnee Peak area, like southern
Uh-huh.
Maine
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. And then always kind of in the back of my head, I had this place, J Peak, and that was somewhere that I had always gone as a kid. My great aunt and uncle owned an inn in a little town called
Wow.
Montgomery Center. That's literally 5 minutes away from J Peak, and that's where we would go and spend our summers and stuff like that. So very familiar with the area. It's hard not to be. There's literally, at the time when we were going up there 30 plus years ago, is nothing up there.
Really?
Now they have they have new ownership. It's like
Mhm.
it's a conglomerate of different mountains that are all owned together. And they built up the mountain, spend millions and millions of dollars on there. There's an indoor water park, there's
Yeah.
ice rinks, there's
So it's a desirable area.
yeah.
for
So
someone
I
to
was
go
like, you know what?
vacation.
This makes sense to
Mhm.
be, 5 minutes 5 minutes down the road on the same mountain
Yeah.
with all these amenities. Yeah.
And I think that a benefit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't own an investment property yet, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's also a great opportunity for you guys to be like, okay, like I would really love to enjoy this
Yep.
property
Yeah.
at
Yep.
this time
Yeah.
of the year, block it off, not, and you just,
Yep.
That's
It's
the beauty
At
of it.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
point now where I'm like, okay, well, if it's not rented, I'll go up. But if it is,
yeah.
let's pay for the
That's awesome.
foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I definitely want to get into that. We're trying to keep it a little
Yeah.
positive in the beginning.
Yeah. Take it to the horse.
It's
Yeah.
brand new now, so
Yeah.
it's great.
So I think that you guys also both had an advantage to being in the industry and sort
Yeah.
of knowing the lingo, knowing sort of what to do, even though both New Hampshire and Vermont, different states, sort of a little bit, maybe different processes, but for the most part, I'm sure it was pretty similar. But for anybody who is not a real estate professional, what would you suggest, or what would you suggest to them to, be their first step into sort of exploring?
Honestly, first step, and I don't say this with many things, but find a realtor who either has a short-term rental themselves or is experienced in it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whether it's hosting or
Yeah.
just
And
has
this is to
purchased them before.
identify a property.
Yeah, because it's like I mean, it's just a different animal, and I think I think it's important for the realtor to be able to kind of draw upon the experiences that they have with their own short-term rental, or for us, for instance, like, so if it was like me or Jess and someone wanted to buy something up north, we would be referring them to somebody.
Mhm.
So if I'm referring them to somebody,
I want to make
it's-
sure I'm referring them to somebody that knows what they're talking about.
yeah,
There's a lot of different things that go into these Airbnbs too. It's like, how many people can you fit in a bedroom? Do you want to have that many people in a bedroom?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's your max amount of people? So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I mean, we got an Airbnb for Mary's bachelorette weekend, and it was a 3-bedroom, but there were essentially 11 girls. So me in my head, I'm like calculating, okay, how many people can you fit in one room? Does anyone have to sleep on the
Right,
couch? Like,
right.
So yeah, I
well,
mean,
it's different for girls trips and guys trips.
Yeah.
And guys ski trips and girls ski trips. It's completely like, then there's the couples who's bringing the kids. You
Yeah.
gotta take all of that into account.
yeah, that is.
and
true.
it's one of those things where I was like, do I have to account for this? But then I do feel obligated to be like, hey, based on the people you're telling me are going to
Yeah.
be there, I just want to make sure you
Maybe,
have
like
Yeah.
beds
so what
in
do
the
you say, like,
rooms
if-
and
comfortably fits X
Yes.
amount of people, or you just say like, here's the amount of beds, figure out how many
Yeah.
people you can
Right.
fit.
That's where you start.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's almost like better to have more twin beds than queen beds.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, oh, well, you can fit 2 in there, but if it's sometimes like
Or
these
bunk
guys don't
beds.
want to do that. Yeah. like,
Right.
But
That's it. Oh, what? Well, guys. Oh,
They
yeah.
don't
No,
usually.
guys don't want to be in a twin bed.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Head
were,
to toe.
for
Yeah.
Mary's
Head to
for
toe.
Mary's bachelorette, we had 2 twin beds and 2 trundles in one bedroom. So
Yeah.
our own bathroom. So we could fit 4 girls in our room and it was fine. But yeah, okay. So your first step, and I feel like, the first step should be to sort of talk to somebody who's in that realm. Like if you're looking for an investment property for a short-term rental, and I have to say it slow because I will mess up
Yeah.
the words,
Yeah.
a short-term rental property. I think that's a great idea to find, an agent who can also sort of give you tips of like, and this is just based off of the knowledge from going to one of Sam's meetups where the guy was like, oh, people in this area are really looking for hot tubs.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was
Yeah.
like, I would do anything not to be in a hot tub. Like hot tub is
Agreed.
just not my thing.
I get
Agreed.
bookings because
But he was
of my
like,
hot
Yeah.
tub.
invest in a hot tub and
Yeah.
you'll get X amount of dollars more every night. And it's true. I don't know why. Well, I don't know what I don't want to be in a hot tub.
Fall nights, winter nights,
Yeah.
it's snowing up in New Hampshire. People want to get out and they can't.
Yeah.
There's no outdoor living in New Hampshire unless you're skiing. So
Mm.
I'm surprised Trish has not chimed in on that. Big hot tub person.
You're a big.
I love
I
love
can't do
hot
that.
tubs.
Really?
Oh, they're
I feel like
amazing.
I feel like a lobster boiling in like a lobster pot. Like I don't know. Maybe I just run really hot. I can't
Same.
can't sit in one. Yeah, my heat.
I fully enjoy it. Relax. Oh, it's great.
Especially in the winter.
But I thought it was
Snowing.
interesting that he had said that, like, okay, in these like ski area places, invest in a hot tub, and I promise you'll get more a night. And
Yeah.
you feel that?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Um, do you guys
feeling
have a
the-
hot tub
no,
in
we
yours?
don't. And that's when
Oh.
we're feeling it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because people, they want to come back after skiing and,
Yeah.
relax, like you said.
I don't even know how much
Even
a hot
so-
tub
Warm
is,
up.
but yeah,
They want to
maybe-
get boiled and all cooked. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, no, I don't want to feel like a lobster. But yeah, laugh at me all you want. Hot
No,
tub
I-
lover.
I love it.
I am too. I love.
You like it?
Also,
Oh, you guys are
oh.
weird.
I want one for my Halifax.
You guys are weird. You have a pool in your house. Whatever.
It's cold.
Okay, get a heater. Um anyways, okay, yeah. So I think that that's a great tip to find maybe an agent
And to the
who
lender as well too, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, my lender owned an Airbnb and
Oh, good.
he owned one actually before Matt did. And he
did you
owned
use
one
your
in Vermont.
same lender that you use here?
Yep,
Because
yep.
he's licensed in New
In
Hampshire.
Vermont and New Hampshire, yeah.
Yeah.
And Maine. So I used him and it was great. He could kind of like,
That's awesome.
he like led me through it, what I should put down, shouldn't put down, that kind of stuff too, is like, oh, you might need extra money for
Mhm,
the issues and, you know.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Like checking on permits
Yeah.
for the
Yep.
one that he bought. Yeah.
So I'm
Yep.
I'm curious. I'm curious, how many properties did you look at before purchasing this one? I know you didn't even look at the one that you purchased,
I
but
did have a realtor preview a lot of them for me and they just weren't like either close enough to the water or they were just too small. I couldn't see like my family really fitting in there and it not really working for us. And then there was a lot of properties up there like on lakes, you wouldn't think about, they don't actually have heat and they winterize them.
Mhm.
So you can't.
the
get
houses don't have heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
They have like just wood stoves,
Oh.
some of them, or they're just winterized.
like a cabin in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
It's honestly amazing. Like a lot
I
of
had
these
no idea all that was up
Yeah.
there.
Oh, like I don't know how your property is, but like mine doesn't have like a central heating system, like a furnace or
Oh, it
a
doesn't?
boiler or anything. It's just like these propane heaters throughout the house. And I'm like, how was heating an afterthought in this place? It's literally -25,
Yeah.
like 6 months out of the year.
Yeah,
know.
interesting. Oh, well, is that something that you have to
No, it's
figure out?
fine. I mean, they figured it out years ago, but it's
Okay.
not like, like a central heating system,
So
It's,
weird.
Yeah.
it's like propane. It's almost like the first version of split units, but
Mine had
an
one
older
and it's
version
like,
of
they're like,
that.
oh, this is a big house. We're gonna put the biggest unit we can put in
that's good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's too big.
Oh,
So my HVAC guy was like, this is really big. I need to do everything. And I'm
Wow.
like, awesome.
Redo everything. All right. So you guys sort
Now
of
it's warm.
you told us why you wanted to have an investment property and sort of do a short-term rental for it. So it was a dream, you figured it out, you made it work. What sort of happened after closing? And I'm looking at you.
Of course, you're looking at me.
I'm looking at you. So what's up? What
Should we define short-term rental before you dive into your craziness?
What is
I mean,
a short-term rental?
Short-term rental would be anything under 30 days.
Okay.
So anything in for the audience, like sometimes that's, as realtors and stuff, we kind of get the nuances and things like that, but like short-term rental, anything under 30 days. So anything beyond 30 days, now you've got to get into a different type of being a landlord.
Mhm.
So now you've got to get
You have to have a
into,
lease.
you have to have paperwork, you've got to abide by lead laws. Like there's a lot of different things. You're going to have, whether it's written or not written, you're going to have some type of lease, and then the tenant's going to have certain rights.
Yeah.
When it's a short-term lease, very different.
Yeah.
They are guests there, and if need be, Jess or I could call the police and say, hey, this person's in my house and they're trespassing.
Yeah.
Not the case when
Yeah.
you're doing a medium or long-term rental.
Yeah.
So just to clarify before.
Yeah. Well, because that leads to the point too, where I had last winter, it was like I kept losing power, and I was like nervous I was going to run out of oil. So then this year I actually looked into a lot of people up at Cannon Mountain, which is the closest mountain to me. They want winter rentals, and it's a family that basically goes up there and they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday, and then they go up again and again and again until like basically from Christmas until March.
Nice.
So I had to work on that, which then led me to have the attorney drop a whole new lease because it's so much longer.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
my short-term rental turned into a medium rental for just a couple months, but it
But-
also helps with costs. 'Cause
Yeah.
now they're
It
paying
does,
for
yeah.
the oil, and they're paying for the electricity, and they're also paying for some of the plowing, which
That's great.
you just never know in New Hampshire. This year was easy. Last year.
Yeah. I think I had mentioned this on the show. I personally looked at a condo to purchase, and they had like a special assessment, and it was for snow removal. And I said, from what year?
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
haven't really had any snow. I'm sorry, what? Like
2015?
2015?
Yeah,
Like,
really.
yeah, I was like, they didn't have an answer for me. And I was like, well, what is it really for? Because we have not had snow. Please come up with something that's a little bit better than no one will question. But yeah, I would imagine that there hopefully is a lot of snow where you guys are, because you guys are sort of banking on it. But yes, thank you for that. So a short-term rental, and there, like you said, there's not just Airbnb. There's a bunch of other different, what's that? VRBO?
VRBO. Yeah, I use
VRBO,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also I'll give you guys an opportunity to sort of plug your properties as well and see where people can find them. But yes, so it's all fun. It's all fun and games. You found the house, everything. What are some of the unexpected things that might come up when purchasing an investment property like that, especially out of state?
Do you want me to start on that?
I would love for you to
Are
start.
you sure?
Yes.
So we bought it sight unseen, as you've already heard.
Yes. So no home inspection. You know what we say on this show.
The house is an antique, which is very cool. It was apparently a speakeasy in the 20s.
Oh, I love
really,
that.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
awesome.
cool. So they had all these crazy lights and stuff with all these crazy switches.
Oh.
But then they had a lot of crazy wiring as well.
Mm.
Trap doors,
Could have had
skirt
crazy
room,
fire.
anything.
Red light and a green light.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But also the people that have owned it before just never took care of it. It was falling into the river, and I say that in the nicest way ever. It was like a banana. It was really just like falling into the river. So I had to find one company, which I did, to lift up the home completely and do a whole new foundation, which is a completely unexpected cost. And then with all of that, it just kept going up, because that was when the lumber prices and everything else was going up. So that was really fun. But as soon as that was done, now we have a brand new basement with new HVAC, which was also a thing, but it's okay. But now we've got a nice clean basement you can walk into and stand in, and it's one level, and walk out towards the hot tub, which you couldn't get to without going to the main road before in a bathing suit. So that's it's a plus to have the basement door now.
Yeah.
So and all new windows that look at the pretty river.
That's
So
awesome.
had you seen the house, had you noticed that it was falling into the river, had you known that you needed a new foundation and HVAC and everything, would you have purchased the house still?
Probably. I can't say yes for sure. But yes, I mean, we didn't back out. We could have backed out.
Yeah.
We didn't, because we did go up in between. We did tell them we weren't going to back out, but I mean, it's pretty scary to walk in.
Did the
house.
realtor notice that it was
She
falling?
didn't go either. I saw.
I'm sorry. So
I
I
know.
saw it besides
So-
God.
Nobody-
Attacking you right
nobody-
now.
Nobody. So this was something that
Where did you find this on Craigslist?
I'm telling. I was sitting there. Listen.
Did you have a couple beers too, and then you went to Matt and we're like,
Maybe
we
a
gotta
glass of wine. I was sitting on my computer and I was looking for something. I needed to get away. It was one of those days I just needed a vacation. I told you I have 3 boys.
yeah.
So I'm looking and I'm like, this house is it. I called my realtor. It was like 8 o'clock at night. I said, this is the one that I want. She called their realtor, didn't get them until the next morning. And she said, offers need to be in
Yeah.
like ASAP.
Had it just gone on the market?
It had already gone through like open houses and stuff. And they had already had like 20 something people through the open house.
But
and
no
they already
offers?
had a few offers.
Okay.
So I think I got the house because of my love letter, which works every once in a while.
That is so interesting to me that they had multiple offers and they chose somebody out of state who hadn't seen the
I
property
know.
Because
I know.
I didn't do a home
because you didn't do a home
Yeah.
inspection.
That'll get
Yeah,
it for you.
you're right.
I mean,
They knew that you didn't know it was falling into the river.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From the pictures, you can kind of
You could
tell.
see that
Now
it's a
you're
banana?
looking, yeah. You can kind of tell. It's a 1920s house. You can tell from the pictures. It's like slopey. You could tell it needed some work. Not a big deal with what I thought the work was. I wasn't thinking it was going to be like jack the house up, put some blocks on it, and then
Yeah.
have bears walk under the house and do all this crazy stuff. But
Hmm.
Did
yeah.
bears walk underneath your house?
Oh yeah, I've had some. I actually, when they were evening out all the dirt before they poured the concrete for the basement, there was deer marks like.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
If they were
Wow.
like bear
Yeah.
prints or whatever, I would have taken pictures and like framed it.
Oh,
And, like
yeah.
put it inside
Keep
the
it-
house and been like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bear underneath this house. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, before the house was actually jacked up and the front deck was ripped off, there was bears. A mom and 3 cubs walked directly onto
Oh,
my front steps, which I thought was so cool. I'm
That's
like,
so
I'm so
cool.
glad I wasn't there because my cameras wouldn't have been on.
a mom and 3 cubs. You and
There
your
you go.
three
Yeah.
kids.
It's a sign.
It's a
fix the
sign.
house.
All right, it was
Yeah.
worth it. It
Yeah.
was worth it.
It's turning out to be worth it. I don't know.
It's turning out to be
Headaches,
worth it.
but
That's good.
It's going.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
But now you have somebody who's staying there for an extended period of time, and
Yep,
you know,
starting Christmas. Yep.
nice.
Mhm.
What about for you guys?
We're very, very, very new in the
Yeah,
process. I
yeah.
mean, it's weird. It feels so long. We got an offer accepted in March. They wanted an extended closing. That's fine. It was through the slow season anyway, so we actually closed mid-July, and then have just been working on the place since then, and just put it on the market, or
Yeah,
put it on Airbnb, put it on VRBO.
I feel like that's a
on-
quick turnaround time.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I also don't know what you. So my follow up question would be, what did you? I know what you did to get your house ready. What did you guys do after closing to get your house ready for putting it on Airbnb or any other website?
yeah, so ours was pretty much ready to go. I mean, it's built in the 60s, but the people had kept it well maintained.
Mhm.
I mean, the bathrooms are
It looks so
slightly
cool.
outdated and stuff. So
I've seen the pictures. It looks so cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was
Yeah.
awesome.
I know. I even thought to myself, I was like, can I go skiing? I don't know how to ski, but can I go skiing
Yeah.
this winter? Because I want to stay here.
It's funny
You're
though.
doing
There's so
great.
much else to do there
Yeah,
too,
I know.
besides just skiing. So like, it's a really cool place to hang out,
Yeah,
and like,
I might be booking it.
yeah, it's and again, like even again, that went indoor water park is neat because there's like a bar there and stuff, and it's like
Mhm.
85
Yeah,
degrees,
catch me
and
at the
it's
bar.
-5 outside, and you're like cruising through a lazy river, and you're looking outside, and there's just snow dumping everywhere, and you're like, this is weird. Like, I'm 85 degrees going through a lazy river. and
Yeah.
it's-
Cool.
and it, yeah, so. But yeah, we didn't. I mean, we had a lot of like just cosmetic stuff to do, painting, things like that. Just like your general
Pretty
stuff.
stuff,
Yeah, to
yeah.
get
Yeah.
ready, decorations and like. But yeah, so we put on the market on Friday, and as of throughout the weekend, we got 7 bookings already. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm optimistic. Yeah,
That's awesome. I'll have to go on there and make sure my
Yeah,
weekend's
I looked
available.
Yours up. I typed in like random 5 people on a random
Yep.
weekend, and yours was the first one to come
Oh,
up.
good.
And
That's
I
awesome.
was
Yeah.
pumped, so
Yeah.
I loved it.
That's awesome. I
obviously.
love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
And
you.
we'll be sure to tell everybody where to find both of your properties. But I also think that it's important to sort of say that, yes, your stuff was structural, and that no matter if it was a house that you're going to live in full time or a house that you're going to do short-term rentals, anybody living in it, those things were going to have to be done
I
no
couldn't
matter
have
what.
lived with myself if something
You
had
could-
happened. Like
yeah.
a window
Right.
could have broken, a child could have like literally rolled.
Yeah.
and fallen out a window.
Rolled
it
into the
needed to
river.
be- It could have been my
Yeah.
2-year-old just playing fetch with himself in the kitchen, just rolling a truck down and
Yeah.
fall down and then going to
Those
get
are
it.
those are things that would have been done, had to have been done no matter what, if you
Mhm.
were living there full time or part time or whatever. Yours sounds like cosmetic.
Yeah.
But we talk about this on the show a lot when when we do shows, should you or shouldn't you do these things if you're gonna sell? And I feel like it's sort of the same mindset. Like, would you completely redo your entire kitchen if you're going to sell your house? No, because you wouldn't enjoy it. Would you do your kitchen completely over in a rental like that, like a short-term rental, when do people really care? As long as it's functional and it works and maybe doesn't look absolutely horrible. Like, it could be dated, but it's fine, right?
Yeah.
That's next for me, but I'm not doing a new kitchen. My cousin is a contractor and giving me one that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
So I feel like it's important to say that you just because you buy an investment property doesn't mean you have to dump all of this money into it. There are things that you can do cosmetically that, will sort of you might get a couple more bucks every night, you know?
It's even the little things, like the cosmetic things, like the little throw pillows. Like I noticed we have the same ones on our bed.
Oh, do we? Which ones?
Yeah, the bears.
Oh, I love the bears.
The Eddie Bauer bears.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
That's cute.
And that's
Don't let Nick fool you guys too. He designed everything.
Me and
You
Trish were talking
did?
about it.
I only gave Trish one room. I was like, listen, you can take one room. I got the rest.
Your room. What's Trisha's room?
Mine is the fallish
The autumn
theme
room.
room, the
Okay.
autumn room. We call it the
Okay.
autumn room.
I like that name.
No, hold on. You got two rooms. You got the bunk room too, and that one.
Oh yeah, I do
really
like
shiny.
the
Bunk room, yeah,
Oh,
the
that
one with the
one's
bunk beds.
cute.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Like
I
I said,
also
I'm
like the
planning on
hiking,
renting
yeah.
it just for myself. I'm
Yeah.
inviting nobody, and I'm just
And you
gonna
don't even like
just
hot tubs, so
I'm
it's
gonna
good.
walk around town by myself and find things to do. Yeah,
It does look so cute.
It is. It's cute.
So one of the things that came out of Sam's meeting there, was we have a 3-car garage on that
Wow.
property, and I'm like,
It's yours?
yeah, and I'm like, why?
Awesome.
Is it
Why would
attached?
it's detached? Yeah, and I'm like, why would you ever need a 3-car garage
Mhm.
and an Airbnb? So I'm like, I'd love to make this into some type of game
you
room,
have,
recreation
ATVs?
room.
That's a.
Maybe that's a
It's such
liability.
liability, yeah. But
you
I'm
can
like,
keep
if we
yours
could,
up there.
yeah, we could keep ours in one, and our
Okay.
intention is to keep one bay for ourselves, almost
Yeah.
like an owner's closet
Yeah.
situation, and then eventually try to make that 2-car garage
Yeah.
area into just a game room, like a bar and
Rent
game
them out,
room.
too.
For that too.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put our hot tub in there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, there is a
Sexy.
drain in there.
Have it outside,
I
isn't
know,
it?
yeah.
You can open the garage door, be indoor, outdoor.
Ooh, there you go.
Exactly.
Hey,
Wow.
I love that idea.
I think we did this.
Yeah. We did this.
We did the show. Now we're
But
good.
also, I will say people love, I got a dartboard. One of my friends gave us a dartboard and I put it up there just because I was like, oh, why not? And
You
we
know,
put it,
yeah.
I'm not even joking, on a piece of plywood that we just had left over because we were at the end, we were like, oh, somebody's coming next weekend. We're gonna have to have it ready. And people have messaged me,
Yeah.
I love the dartboard. And I'm like,
Well,
Thanks.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
I
something to do.
love how we're snowballing this because you think about people who really want to do Airbnbs in those areas. So it's, families, and I don't know what it's like to have small kids, but I would imagine that you have to entertain them all the time. And maybe you don't want to spend a ton of money because you're already spending money to stay somewhere. So why not utilize the space? Yeah.
Yeah.
And also bachelorette parties,
Right.
you go out to the garage, have a couple drinks, throw some darts, play some pool,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
yep.
whatever they do on bachelor.
What do
Bachelor
you know?
weekend.
That's what they do. That's definitely what they do. You're right.
The best.
I don't
behaved-
want to think about the bachelor and bachelorette parties. I can't. Those are never happening in my house.
Yes. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh, you probably don't want those at your house.
My husband has had all of his friends get married this year. There's been 5 bachelor parties, and we're
Yeah,
having
I'm
all
not
of that
I'm not
right now.
envious of those.
Yeah.
So we only have about 8 minutes left. So I
Wow.
do
Wow.
want to, sort of wrap it up a little bit, but also give you guys an opportunity to give your contact information out again and give your information of where you can find your Airbnbs. But any sort of things that we didn't go over, I mean, I told you 45 minutes goes pretty fast when we're all just talking. Anything we didn't touch upon or that you think is important when people are either thinking or currently have. I know, like, I wouldn't even know what to price my house at, like, a night. Like, how'd you come up with that?
So the guy before us actually had Airbnb'd it, and obviously the house is falling into the river. So I'm like, okay, he's getting this amount of money.
Yeah, you feel like you might get a little bit more.
I could get this amount of money, but I also felt like he was being a little greedy. So I went lower, knowing that the house is still not 100%. We're still doing construction on it. It still needs siding on one of the sides, and it still needs like a gutter, like silly little things, and the outside doesn't look perfect. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it lower until we can get some people in there and some good reviews to get, people in there. And so I ended up looking at some comparable things around and went based off that.
How did you guys come up with the price?
A similar, we, so it's like one of the big things that I've looked into is this website called Price Labs, and Price Labs will literally like set the price for you based on the comps, and it'll literally give you dynamic pricing and change it and all that stuff. It's a monthly rate. It's a little bit steep, so it would have to make sense for us to do it. So we haven't done that yet, but what we did was just, go on, look at other properties that were similar, same thing. And same school of thought, like, we're just coming out of the gate. Pricing needs to be a little bit lower to get people in there, to get some good reviews. And I think once we get a little bit of traction, we can get up our property up to the same prices of the other homes in the area.
One thing I found though, and I've heard this from a couple of people that have Airbnbs, is that people aren't always looking for the cheap one either. So you have to find that middle ground. So they want like a cheap one. Yeah, sure. They want to save a little bit of money and bring up their family for a weekend or whatever. But also they don't want the most expensive one, but they don't want the cheapest one because they figure there's something wrong.
Yeah, there's something wrong with it. Yeah.
Middle ground.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tough. And Airbnb allows you to kind of play around with it too. I filled up all of July by somebody booked a weekend, then somebody booked the next weekend. So Monday to Thursday, I made it super cheap. So I'd rather somebody go up there. And then on top of that, my cleaner is making money too, which helps her, helps me. It all, we help each other.
Cleaner, sorry. And this could be like a whole topic that we could do 45 minutes on. And I'm new to this, but I'm like, I feel like for the longest time, like Airbnb hosts were making a little bit of money off of their cleaners. And then cleaners kind of like got wise to that. And now the prices are astronomical for cleaners. And I'm like, I have to rent this place, and it has to be a fair, reasonable price. Your cleaning fee can't be more than what I'm renting it for. But these cleaners are just really taking advantage of it right now. And I
interviewed 8.
Wow.
Is it because they have to be there so frequently?
It's tough. It's not an easy job. I get it. But at the same time,
a lot of changing of sheets.
Yeah.
And that just takes a lot of time. Think about when you change your own sheets. It's when you're like sweating by the time you get to the other side.
I'm sweating just sitting in this chair.
So then
hot in here.
The cleaner is like, oh, you have to change after 11 people. And that's, like,
it's a lot. So. But you know what? You're cleaning an entire house. Isn't that what you get hired to clean the house?
Yeah.
Right. That's
so
what they want.
I was surprised to, I was looking at like prices down in this area, and then to see prices up kind of in a remote area to be literally like more than double. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Curious if it's because they know that they can charge that because of how many people, or if it's because they don't have a lot of business and they have to charge that.
Could be.
Be curious to know.
Could be.
Yeah.
If anybody knows, let me know.
I told my cleaner too that I have a checkout at 4. To check out at 11 and check in at 4. And if she has to if she ever has to be there between 11 and 4 and get the turnover, I basically was like, I'm going to add a lot of money on there for you to just get it done. Cause I know it's going to be worth it for me. It's going to be worth it for you.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
A
lot of them do all this extra stuff, and they almost become like a property manager for you.
Yeah.
Which is great, and you pay for that all day long.
So how did you find your cleaner?
We same thing. We did a lot of like research in the area. I asked a bunch of questions to our realtor that was up there. And then I actually found another Airbnb host from a class that I had done in a Facebook group that we were part of. And he uses the same cleaner and has good results.
Yeah.
You pay for it. There's no doubt, But I mean, the way I look at it is like, it's kind of like saying earlier to some people, I'm always like willing to pay a fair price for somebody, but I kind of give you like here's like your leeway price. Here's like I'm going to be a little bit more on top of your price.
Mhm.
Here's like now you're feeder to the fire price. And then like, now you're in the fire price.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at like that. You're in the fire price. This better be perfect.
You have
Your eyes. Like, she's in there
Yeah.
after I had a person that rented left the basement door completely open.
yeah.
So
And she's
she
the
was
one
like,
that discovers it
You
and
have
fixes
to-
it for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she also,
Yep.
like, I also felt bad for her. I'm like, she's feeling probably like unsettled, thinking who could be in there.
Well, you have to sort of have people, again, like eyes on the property that you trust. And I think that that's great that you guys sort of did the research to find it. We only have less than 3 minutes left of the show. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to give your contact information again and where people can find your Airbnbs or your short-term. I don't want to keep saying Airbnb because it's not just on Airbnb. So where can they find your short-term rentals? Jess Page, you're going to go first.
Mine is on it's on Airbnb and it's on VRBO.
What's the address?
664 Main Street in Franconia. I don't know if you can actually find it that way though through Airbnb.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say
I've never used
find my
Airbnb.
address.
that's
Oh.
my number.
Yeah.
So
No, I
if
want you to
rather
give your
go-
contact
if you'd
information so
rather go
everybody can
not
find
through
it.
Airbnb, or I can direct you a direct link through Airbnb. My number is 617-966-0057. And
Again.
you can 617-966-0057. And you can message me and we can either work something out, or if you feel better about having like the Airbnb
Behind it.
yeah,
Mhm.
behind it, then that's also fine with me.
Perfect. Team Flynn.
So our Airbnb is called Edelweiss Haven. There's a backstory to that, but we don't have time for that. But so if you went to like J Peak Resort, you type that into Airbnb or VRBO, or you typed in just J Stays or something like that, you'd get Edelweiss Haven. That's our house.
And how can people get in touch with you guys
And
directly?
So we are 781-223-3286 or Team Flynn at Boston Connect.
Give your number one more time.
781-223-3286.
And you can go to bostonconnect.com to find all of their contact information. You can listen to all of our past shows on talkrealestateroundtable.com, or you can go to your podcast app and type in Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And I think that Team Flynn and Jess Page should come back in the wintertime and continue this discussion, because you guys have great houses to rent in the winter all year round, really. So I want you guys to highlight again. Thanks for joining us via Zoom, Trish, half a Team Flynn. And then thank you guys for coming into the studio. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Rockton,
Sorry about that.
the South Shore's first choice for live team